Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. Here's today's vlog video. This one's gonna be a little special. So it won't be a game review for tonight, but I'll say that for another time. But I want to take a break and just discuss this. So you're probably wondering what the hell is this thing? Hello, what the hell is the Chronicles of the what? And what the fuck is this? Was this a drawing or? So basically what this is this was my senior project in high school, a novel. It's basically a novel that I made for my senior project. Now, at the time, one of my goals for high school was to create a book, my very own original book. And I never had the time before senior year to write a book because I was taking AP classes, I had after school activities I do, I was in clubs, so I wasn't able to really do much, I guess you could say. So senior year I decided to, let me use this opportunity to do this as my project, to write a book that I've always wanted to do and just go for it. And months after months of rough drafts, analyzing, having my teachers peer evaluate, give me like papers with a bunch of red marks across saying what grid scroll is grammatically correct or incorrect, and me having to fix all that. I was finally able to fix it all up and have a finished product. You're looking at 200 pages of written text on this novel. So a 200-page novel, and I called it The Chronicles of Universe, which now, looking back now, that's kind of a boring title. I mean, I kind of wish I would have thought of something more clever, but at the time, I really didn't know what to call it. I mean, it is set in the universe, and it is kind of a chronicles, whichever way you want to look at it, because it's basically an action adventure story in space. And I felt that this would be the appropriate title for such a thing. Now, if I can show you guys the back really quick, I do like a little illustration, like kind of like I guess a book cover, like a sucky ass book cover. Well, remember, this is an 18-year-old at the time, drawing all this. This is actually a 5-year-old book now, so it's pretty impressive. I've been able to keep this for so long. And I know it's kind of hard to tell, but I wrote a little message to my English teacher, who was my mentor in creating the senior project. So I essentially say how I appreciate all her help that she gave me, and honestly she was a great help, and I really do miss her. I mean, she actually retired after we graduated that year. So once we graduated, she retired like that summer, and so that was her last year. And I'm so glad I was able to have Miss Wilson as my English teacher. She was one of my favorite teachers essentially that I've ever had. So with that said, what I wanted to do over the course of days is I want to tell the story. I want to finally go back to this and retell my novel and share it with you guys, because I feel it has a special place. This is my own novel, my own creation, and I know you guys might be curious to find out what's it all about. Are you guys curious to find out what's it all about? I know you do. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the very first chapter, called Alien in Space. Most of it's mostly just like monologue with the character, which will be introduced in this chapter. And there's 20 chapters overall, so I'm going to read the first chapter tonight and then read the subsequent chapters as days go along. So without further ado, here's my novel, The Chronicles in Space, Chapter 1, Alien in Space. Here we go. Alright, hey, what's up, guys? So I decided to move the camera a bit. This is kind of an unorthodox video because I never hold the camera in any position other than either on top of the bed or just like kind of slightly on TV. So this is gonna first have some lighting kind of around me, so hopefully that helps a lot. So facing you, the viewer, I'm gonna read the first chapter, so hopefully you guys can follow along, because I think it's pretty cool. And what I'm gonna do, so it won't be just me reading to the text. I will actually put some images, to tell the story, so that way it'll be a little more interesting to look at instead of just me the whole time. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm very sexy, but I gotta chill for a bit. So no, just a little joke. No, I'm kidding. All right then. So here's chapter 1, Alien in Space, and hopefully you guys will be more interested to read more of the story. I'll post it anyway, but hopefully this will be a good introduction to what this is going to be all about. And just to see, okay, all right, cool. So let's begin. So let's see, alien in space. All right, we're back. So sorry for the introduction. There was a couple things going on that I need to fix, but now we're back. So let's read Alien Space, Chronicles of Space, or Universe. Sorry, Chronicles of the Universe. Here we go. As far as darkness as the eye can see, the universe is a vast and dense place. Comets, planets, galaxies, and stars. There is nothing that can be inhabited by this behemoth we call the universe. So wide, so large, so incredibly filled with mysteries and undiscovered frontiers. It makes one wonder whether this vast collection of stars is all that there is in this huge area of darkness. People wonder, people rationalize, people think and believe. What is this universe? Why is it here? What is the purpose of all these planets, all these galaxies, all these asteroids, all this? It's nothing. No one may know, but many can conclude and summarize their own theories and beliefs. As an observant deity which will be kept confidential and away from life's own eyes, I speak on behalf of the universe, knowing insight. Usually, most can say that they can find or will discover the universe's final frontier and the end of it. But from experience and contrary to popular belief, there isn't much to see or even try, because once you cross a certain boundary of knowing what is to be wanted out there, you're in for a very hard landing. The truth is coming from a being with years and years of wisdom that no one can ever handle without absorb, from observations to passing centuries. It's not that I don't want anyone to know what is out there in this vast and timeless space. Maybe things are never meant to be discovered, as the old saying goes, coming from the supposed dominant species of light, from a little planet calling itself Earth. What is the dominant species, you ask? I only say the creatures known as humans are the ultimate rulers of their own planet, because they seek nothing more than power and complete control. But who is to say that they are the rightful owners and therefore are allowed to become the rulers of their planet, wherein they share this beautiful mass of land with millions upon millions of beautiful and diverse creatures? You have the marine superpowers, them being the deadly great white shark, the vastly huge blue whale, or that playful ecstatic dolphins of the seas. You also have the warriors of the sky, them being the vultures, the eagles, and the always admiral hummingbird. On land, you have just about everything you can think of: insects, mammals, reptiles, you name it, such a diverse group of species living under one roof. Now, thinking through all this and processing the information with what you can call the mind, can you really justify the humans' ownership of everything they can see and grab with their filthy, cold, and vengeful hands? Life was given onto this planet, and for the most part to keep the balance of life equal. We have seen for thousands upon thousands of years that humans haven't learned anything that is to know about the concept of sharing this planet with other life forms. It is unfair. The intellectual and sometimes irrational minds of human beings will someday be the biggest player and will wish they had listened. They will someday wish they would have noticed the changes in season, weather, rise in violence, etc. It is simply not normal. Earth was created to serve as a garden of all for all life on the planet, and give the right to all animals the freedom to do as they please, as long as it was for their own goodwill and safety for the whole process we call life. Look at the cockroach, strong-willed to live and ready to take over. These creatures have been around for as long as Earth can remember. They were there when the dinosaurs were destroyed, remember? I think so. It doesn't seem to stick to some of the minds of these humans that the Earth has always served as a Garden of Eden for all creatures. And even without human intervention, life moved on and on and on. I just wish that humans would one day look back and see all the mistakes and horrible choices they have made that will eventually doom this planet in the future. Life needs to continue on this planet, and I know somewhere in that cold, hard exterior of the ground of the Earth, Mother Nature is planning something so epic, life-changing, so hugely vast and complex that it may bring the ultimate change on planet Earth as we know it. I certainly don't want to sound apocalyptic and all, but this is what the humans are bringing onto themselves. for not respecting the planet that they live in, for not appreciating the opportunity they were given to have the chance to live and die and have their offspring develop and have the opportunity to prosper and flourish in an ever-changing planet. This might be the end of a planet as we know it, the end of something that seemed so optimistic at first, but now is quickly turning into something I don't want to see happening to the humans. This is why I've been called. So essentially this whole first, I guess you can call me a little prologue in the chapter. So it just explains, the state of the earth, people how, are destroying it, how they don't respect the other creatures of the planet. Sometimes, they abuse the system, they abuse the Mother Earth for their own needs. And, I guess it's kind of a wake-up call, I guess, to real-life events as we see today. I cannot believe I actually wrote all this in 12th grade, as an 17, 18-year-old. So even now I'm going like, wow, to think I wrote this, so that's, I don't know. I'm trying to put away my, ego aside. I don't have an ego. I mean, then again, we all have an ego, but most of us know how to, be humble about it. I always try to be humble. It's always my goal. So let's continue. So we're about to be introduced to the first character in this story. They call me code 3327. I'm what many of you would call an extraterrestrial. I'm on board what I call my private sector, or to make complicated explanations short, my spaceship given to me by my brotherhood. I'm here on a mission. I have not been traveling at the speed of light for over a week for nothing, although I had raced this thing of beauty around for miles upon miles just for the heck of it. The plain gist of this mission I'm taking is strictly confidential, and I will not allow any word of it to escape this conversation. You got it? Is anyone around the room? No? Good. To put things into perspective, remember when I was discussing earlier about human beings being oh so unkind to the planet they were given, and completely disrespecting and demoralizing the entire sanctity that is life on that planet? Well, I don't know much as of right now, and I really can't give you a clear or detailed picture of what is going on, but what I can tell you from what I specifically know of this planet Earth is that it is universally to say it's in complete and utter danger. You see, for creatures as advanced and as intellectually intelligent as our own, we have studied this Earth given to us by our all-powerful deity, or as we call him, Brother. He controls everything, I mean it, with emphasis on everything. It is something to be shocked about, yes, but it is true. And the reason being is that our earliest ancestors passed down a special book that has survived through millions of years' time and contains the oldest form of writing and pictography known to our civilization. It has been preserved from generation to generation from the first family units who were privileged and honored to receive said book and pass it along, all while keeping the sacred text through all this time. You see, Brother is what made us into what we are. We can't really say anything much about it except from what our elder tells us from when we were small creatures. Brother created everything, code 3327, everything. The land, the hydrogen monoxide that fuels our heavenly bodies, everything, simply all. Our civilized culture doesn't question the existence or belief that Brother does not exist, and anyone caught speaking out against the deity is sent away and isolated from civilization, usually ending up living in uninhabitable lands, or the other, usually not used as much. If not, we're at this point what we call the farewell launch. What is this farewell launch, you ask? Well, to be quite honest with you, I myself have never witnessed a farewell launch. The reason being is that these are carried out in private, away from the multitude sector of our civilization. If I recall, only a number of our brothers are selected to gain knowledge and know more about this practice into detail. It is an exclusive selection to begin with. It is only being held every 50 years, meaning for our species we are given 3 opportunities as a people to be selected among those selected. Well, that sounds weird. See, I catch on to some mistakes that I've done, in the past, so that's good. I've heard stories of such experience, and usually it is a bittersweet one at best. 10 is the number. Only 10. Out of billions of us, only 10 are selected randomly and by chance by picking a white ball that has a code name on it, in which everyone is required to reply, although for most of us we didn't seem to care very much of it. I myself didn't really look for it anyway, so I didn't care if I had one selected placement or not. And we will pause for a brief moment and we will get to you shortly. And we are back, guys. Sorry for the interruption. We will continue from where we left off. The men selected are never announced publicly or said when people are around. It is usually from eyewitness accounts and observations I've been told over the years, which may or may not be true, but really do not matter at this point. The winners are sent a mail confirmation pretty much summarizing that they had won the sweepstakes and are due to report to the official government building, or how it is commonly known as Brother's Gift, the next day. They spend the next 50 years learning, gaining knowledge, and practicing Brother's Gift to our civilization. At least that's what our government body tells us. This is the part where I cringe to even speak of it out of my mouth. In retrospect, it is not that it is unusual, but these type of events only happen when someone in the population becomes so isolated, so severely deprived of contact with the rest of the world, that they end up having to end their stay, or term as we call it, on our civilization and become what we call martyrs, to serve the best interests of the people. It is by their own choice, and for the most people, an honorable way to escape a horrible condition. Brother encourages members to end their term once they reach a certain plateau of age on the planet to keep the population balanced at an equilibrium, or as it is called, Brother's median of divine continuity. Our people obey this law to their own deaths, but we don't call it deaths here, we call it ending of your term. Meaning once you have lived the required number of years, you are then encouraged to end the life you have lived for so long in order to make way for future generations, because according to Brother himself, apparently written in text form from his own mouth and observed and written by noble scribes, the population can only nurture and support a number of people until it gets 1 second. Man, so many interruptions, I swear. But alright, let's get going. We're almost done with this part here, so let's see, where was I? Okay, here we go. The population can only nurture and support a number of people until it gets to the point where they can't support everyone living on the planet, so that amounts to chaos, fear, and the ultimate destruction of our own civilization as we know it, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I just realized I have a lot of run-on sentences in this novel. What do you know? So in order to prevent this type of tragedy from happening, I have decided to install a system in which we will let the population multiply and contribute to our society for at least 200 years of their lives. Once this number is reached, as a nobleman, you will head and inspire those members who have lived their lives to finish their term, so that their offspring will be able to have their life on this planet and contribute to the communal society of our civilization. All members of our society agree with this, not only because they are direct words from Brother himself, or so it seems in my opinion, but because of the benefits that come with practicing this sort of ritual and thought. Members who faithfully and voluntarily choose to end their terms on this planet are usually highly regarded and honored, and even being given their own immortal site on the National Government Palace of Past Heroes. What is this palace you speak of? Well, you are about to find out soon enough, right after I move my spaceship from this incoming asteroid. Excuse me for just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, think about what I just said before and understand why our civilization is the way it is. So I guess for now, what this code 3327 guy is just talking about is, his homeland, what's going on, why is it the way it is, and talks about, how people in their terms, become martyrs, and how they have a society in place that I guess benefits everybody, and that their brothers are so-called God. But so far, basically all this chapter is just backstory. And I know it sounds kind of boring, but I feel like this backstory is important because it does contribute to what happens later on in the story, which, trust me, it does get exciting later on. But for now, it's all I would call exposition. This entire chapter is just basically exposition, setting up the novel, as the chapters go on. So with that, I will continue and see where we go from here. Well, I'm back. Thank you very much for being patient. That answer was being an intellectual nincompoop for moving out of its way, so I had to do it myself. Ugh. How I hate celestial bodies at times. They make me feel so stubborn and angry at the universe that surrounds my ship. But then again, the universe is the universe, and it allowed our civilization to live on. I can't be mad at the universe at all, no matter how much I had wished to Brother, or the universe for that matter. The asteroids are a complete waste of time, and will always be a nuisance to anyone currently inhabiting the vast space of galaxies. I guess what I'm trying to say is that at this point, I'm just glad to be here, I know I'm getting off topic here, but I just have to say something. What I'm going to say is just my own intelligent and unbiased opinion, regardless of anything that has happened to my conscious mind, or subconscious for that matter, to say otherwise. It is not wise to speak your mind, especially ever since, brother, being told to us by the government officers and executives in a mass address put on by government, decree that any talking of anything that does not relate to the purpose and goals of our society is forbidden, and any type of criticism the way a brother runs our community is immediately punishable by an early release of terms, which people look down upon because it is not considered honorable, but more along the lines of a traitor and sick, evil retardation not worthy of brother's eyes. So very harsh stuff. They can choose to avoid the release of terms, but what ends up happening is that they are to be ridiculed by decree of law for the rest of their time they spend in our community. This being to bring shame and be frowned upon by all for having committed the crime against brother. For most of those ending up with this crime in their conscience, releasing themselves from their terms early doesn't fully take away from what they have done, as the crime is permanent and they are forced to live with this guilt for the rest of their lives. Instead, when they decide to end their term, they are instructed to phone and organize a meeting with one of the selected ones who are professionals in this practice. They are told to stay in their cubicle, which will be the equivalent of a home as to what humans on the planet Earth would call, and that venture outside into the official meeting has taken place. Basically, I see this as a time of reflection and reviewing of their lives, knowing that they won't be able to ever contact society again, and know that what are about to do will ultimately bring their lives as a service to society to an abrupt and sudden end. The official that will carry out the relatives arrives in full clothed uniform and a badge that certifies that this person is in fact one of the selected ones who will carry out a test only few know how to do. From there, the official is required to ask the criminal in question whether he has final thoughts or comments he would like to make, and in this case, this actually becomes the only time you ever have of speaking from the heart and letting the officer know what you feel and think about your life and what was his viewpoint towards society in general. To be honest about what goes on, they are not required to if they don't want to, but sometimes speaking out against brother and the government is looked as bad and evil talk coming from the evil soul that lies within the body and by almost every citizen. And all this reflection from brother, or for any policy government has to offer, may actually result in hurting the criminal's reputation even more. What I mean by this is that once they release this man and send him off, they will not only vandalize the body with anti-government slogans and symbols showing dissent and resistance to brothers who are alive, but will also mock his life by stating how his contribution to society has officially become tainted with his filth and disgust of his presence in the world, which hurts brother, or so that is what the government tells us so. After the mocking and ridicule of the body which has been called our vehicle, they will place the body in what is called the building of shame and disgust, which is where all these men end up. It is forbidden for anyone to venture there. It is said that it serves as a sort of entertainment center for the officials working in any part. Shame, really. I mean, who would really want to know that anything they say will have an impact once they leave this life for good? In the end, I have to wonder what's the point of criticizing the policies of brother or the government if your beacon will eventually end up being disrespected, killed, and all the shame and this traitor painted all over you. There's really no way out of this situation, so for most people they are somehow forced to compliment brother and show how much he has done for them in their lives and how they are grateful to have been given life in the first place by brother's choice. So they do. The official writes all the information and thoughts the person in question is saying, and once it is all done, they are instructed to lie down in a flat position. This is where it gets tricky, so you might want to listen, and listen good. After they lay down for the officer, they are instructed to close their eyes and fall asleep. To help stimulate the sleep mechanism, the officer will sometimes turn off all the lights of the cubicle and perform this ritual passage in the darkest room of the house, and that could be anywhere depending on how much sunlight the certain rooms get and whatnot. Anyways, back to the point. Once the officers know for sure what they have fallen asleep entirely, they start to mix a set of chemicals that's known to the population as the released liquid of freedom, or death, I guess you could say. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure, and I don't exactly remember what is included in this mixture. But what I do know is that this mixture contains a lot, and I mean a lot, with emphasis on a lot of what government calls released bacteria. They are known in our society to induce complete and a silenced release from the vehicle without any movement from that person in question. This assures the officer that the person was released without having the person experience any sort of backlash and resistance from the body itself, which I would call pain. No one knows for sure as to when and how many are carried out at a time, due to the fact that it's high secrecy and confidential information that is usually sealed off from the public. and only serve to be looked upon by government eyes only. It is as if the government is protecting us from it, and I feel this is a good thing, because there's really no need for publicity for just released people. It just wouldn't feel right, but that's just me. I guess society is run the way it is, and I personally feel that they are doing a great job in handling the situation. And I will always give my thanks to Brother for having allowed me to live this life and in his society, because ultimately, he is the one and all, the powerful, the strongest, the most feared. In fact, we had a slogan made in his honor. Would you like me to recite it for you? Well, by all means. Brother, brother, you can do no wrong. Brother, brother, you will always be right. Always powerful, always respected. We are in full certitude and thankful for all you have blessed us with. Society would be nothing without brother. Without brother, I would not exist. Thank you, brother. Thank you for all you have done. Long live brother, long live government, long live the people, long live brothers utopia. I'm sorry, where are my manners? Well, Utopia is the name of our civilization. We don't call it that, but because this was made long before our current generation was born, long before government, the current one, was around to keep society in place. Our ancestors referred to this place as Utopia. In my time, we don't call it that. It is just our society and our civilization. Although a few of the wise ones who usually still refer to society as Utopia. I myself don't mind it at all. I will call it Utopia if I want to or not. It really does not matter at all at this point. This is just my pure and own choice. Besides all this name-calling business, I have to admit, I love my civilization. It's my ultimate safe haven from a dangerous and cruel outside world. On the mission to Earth, I miss my land at times, even cry for a bit, but then I realize I'm on a mission, so I stop with the sobbing, move forward, and seek the goal that I'm ordered to follow. And that's chapter 1 of the Chronicles in the Universe. So, as you can tell, it's basically all just building up. So, to summarize this whole chapter, we get a description of the land that code 3327 person is from, and their practices, their release, stuff, how people die, basically their way of life, and how he's on this mission, to go to Earth to, well, I won't ruin it, but let's just say it's for an important cause. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed chapter 1. I will read chapter 2 next time, and from what I see from chapter 2, I promise it will start getting a bit more interesting. So again, thank you very much for watching this clip, and I will see you guys for the next episode reading of the Chronicles of the Universe. Thank you, and good night.